We are back. Good to see you guys again. Thanks for coming back for another awesome video. Man, the woke left are going to be losing it after this. Wow, this is going to be a good one, guys. I'm going to try to talk as a little bit less as possible onto this one, just because I'm trying not to get the copyright strikes. But anyway.
For Stephen Miller about Doge. So you spoke about Doge. You said roughly $50 billion is set to be cut in a year of waste, fraud, and abuse by unelected bureaucrats. We're hearing this ironic narrative from the president's critics and the left-wing media that Elon Musk is an unelected bureaucrat and he's doing all this terrible stuff. Isn't one of Doge's objectives to get rid of the federal bureaucracy, the deep state? And also, who was running the White House when Joe Biden was in office? Because I don't know a single person who believes it was Joe.
First of all, when you guys get a chance to see Stephen Miller, oh my gosh, this guy is a firecracker.
Yes, you're tempting me to say some very harsh things about some of our media friends.
All right, y'all, gather round, because we got a story today that's going to light up your screens. So, you know Stephen Miller, right? The dude's like a firecracker when it comes to defending Trump, and today we're diving deep into his epic showdown with the so-called woke media. Now, I'm talking about that moment when Miller didn't just clap back, but outright destroyed these reporters who have been throwing shade at Trump while failing to mention Joe Biden's, well, let's say, questionable performance.
Yes, it is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government...
Now check this out. Miller ain't playing when he's face-to-face with reporters who've been pointing fingers at Trump. You know what I'm saying? They tried to stick it to him about the unelected bureaucrats and how Trump's been handling business. But guess what? Miller hit back harder than ever, breaking it down with a civics lesson that left those critics running with their tails between their legs.
So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed.
You left this. You need to pay attention to this. This is what's going on right now. That's why everybody's all up in arms.
Members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, which is one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause. And it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what.
Frontieras is setting a new standard in clean energy. You can be an early investor in Frontieras right now.
Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers of the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders,
common sense,
which are the will of the whole American people. Thank you.
Imagine the audacity, right?
It's common sense, guys. They weren't elected. They were put inside the government. If they ain't doing the will of the people per the Constitution, he's throwing them out. That's why you're crying.
Right? He laid out how the bureaucracies are undermining what the American people actually voted for, tossing in some facts even the biggest skeptics couldn't ignore. So, trust me, you don't want to miss this explosive breakdown. If you're ready to keep hearing truths they won't share anywhere else, subscribe to the channel, because we're aiming for 20,000 subscribers by March. Come join the fam and help us get there. Seriously, your support keeps this fire burning, and I'm telling you, you...
Yeah, please subscribe.
won't regret being a part of it. See y'all in the comments. All right, let's dive deeper into what went down when Stephen Miller stepped into the spotlight, breaking down the new era of legal reality under the Trump administration. So, picture this. There's a room filled with reporters, all gears turning, trying to poke holes in Trump's policies and governance. Miller, as cool as a cucumber, approaches the podium, and right from the get-go, he ain't holding back. He's ready to lay it all out. Now, y'all got to understand, the media narrative has been steering clear of Biden's shortcomings for way too long. While they've been busy throwing dart after dart at Trump's administration, the real intrigue lies with these unelected bureaucrats who've been running their own show behind the curtains, you know? Miller was all about exposing that truth and setting things.
Just like Elon Musk, right? You guys are crying because Elon Musk is an unelected bureaucrat and you want him gone. It's the same thing. Donald Trump is doing the same thing with the other ones. The people that he doesn't want, the unelected bureaucrats, he's getting rid of them. Same thing.
Straight. Firstly, Miller really nailed it by detailing how these bureaucrats who no one voted for seem to think they run the joint.
The American people are exhausted and tired of watching their tax dollars be corruptly spent, abused, wasted, and in every sense robbed and stolen from them. This president, for the first time in history, is committed to restoring accountability at every level of the federal government. You may assert there's no waste in the Pentagon. You may assert there's no waste in
Stephen,
Treasury.
I'm not
you may assert
I don't
there's
think
no waste in
would assert
HHS.
That, Stephen, I don't think anyone.
Then why are you not celebrating these cuts? If you agree there is waste, if you agree there is abuse, if you agree there is corruption, why?
She's like, wow.
Why are you not celebrating the cuts, the reforms that are being instituted?
Yeah, that's why I don't understand either. All these cuts and all this stuff that is good for the country, and there's people that are not even celebrating it. You know, all these comments I get, all this hate down at the bottom that I'm getting, it's unbelievable, and it's funny to the extent that at the end of all this, when your country's back to normal and it proves that Donald Trump is right, you'll be like looking like the crazy one.
Every day that no action is taken, the entire
Stephen, let's calm
salaries
down.
of American workers that are taxed.
Stephen, let's just calm down. We don't want the woke media to know about this.
Disappear forever.
Stephen, let's calm down.
This is not.
It's how
We're not having a debate.
There's no reason
about whether there are places.
You are clearly trying to debate me, and I will be as excited as I want to be about the fact that we are saving Americans billions of dollars, that we are ending the theft and waste and grift and corruption, that we are stopping American taxpayer dollars.
There's not one thing that he said was wrong. Wake up.
From subsidizing a rogue federal bureaucracy that has been relentlessly weaponized against the American people.
Okay,
you
Stephen,
may not care about this issue.
talking about
your colleagues may not care about this issue, but we care about this issue.
She wants to go back to the craziness. He's telling you what the truth is, and she doesn't want the truth aired on whatever news network that is.
The American people care about this issue.
They also care about privacy.
He was crystal clear, saying that what we've really got on our hands is a plain old power grab by folks the American people never put in office. That's not just a problem, y'all. It's a crisis. He laid out how these shadowy figures act like they're the ones setting national policy, ignoring the will of the voters, y'all who are supposed to matter the most. Now, let's take a minute and talk about the border situation, because Miller didn't pull any punches bringing up the real talk about foreign threats and national security. It's no secret. Trump's all about keeping America safe, and Miller had those receipts ready. He highlighted Trump's executive orders slashing illegal border crossings and how those moves have changed the game entirely. I'm sure everyone watching remembers when border security seemed like a lost cause, right? And here's what stood out: establishing a legal precedent, designating certain drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. This ain't your usual talk, y'all. It's as serious as it gets. It means these dangerous groups are going to be met with the full force of the law. We're talking about...
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm so excited about what's going on in this country right now, and it just amazes me that people don't even see what's going on.
The Department of Justice, Homeland Security, the works, all gearing up to defend the nation and reclaim control. What Miller drove home was how these shifts symbolize a new era of action, a no-nonsense approach to dealing with threats. Then came the part that's been hush-hush in those mainstream outlets. All the while, Trump's been reducing these mugshot-worthy border crossings almost dramatically. Miller dropped a statistic saying crossings are down by 95%. When's the last time they wrote about that in their articles, huh? Exactly. So here's where it gets even more intense. Miller made sure everyone knew that those who refuse to adhere to these new standards, those tangled up in trafficking, smuggling, all of it, are facing the music now. The gloves are off and justice ain't just a word on paper anymore. It's in action and unfolding before our eyes. But you know what really hit me, and I think it'll hit y'all too, was Miller's fire when he spoke about how everyday Americans are getting back what they deserve, the fight against waste and abuse. The commitment to cutting out those unnecessary layers of government. It's something that doesn't just touch on a policy wonk level. This translates into real dollars and real changes the American people can feel in their pockets. As Miller went on, he caught the attention of everyone when discussing the elimination of divisive DEI policies from federal agendas. Finally, he said, we've got leadership.
Yeah, I mean, we got some leadership in there that is taking care of this country. And everybody's not used to it, so they're just going crazy with the tariffs and all that stuff. At the end of the day, it'll work out for you. When Donald Trump says it's going to be the best golden age, and he means it. It's going to be
who understand that policies should unite rather than divide. It's about uniting Americans under the same flag, y'all. None of that divisive rhetoric anymore. With around 73 executive orders signed in Trump's first month, more than double Biden, it's clear that this administration is moving at light speed. Each signature is a promise kept, a barrier broken, a step towards reclaiming what he believes Americans truly deserve.
That's right, guys. We are in for some really good times, but we're going to have this. And what I always say is once something comes out in the news media that Trump does or whatever, just give it a week, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, I understand. Or by that time, when he puts out a 200% tariff, you don't think he knows what's going on in the country. Weeks later, you'll see that the whole government will cave. That's right.
A government that works for them, not against them.
That's right.
Miller left the audience with a lot to chew on, and he wasn't afraid of ruffling feathers. He put it out there that this fight isn't just for the headlines. Nah, it's for every single citizen who's fed up watching their tax dollars disappear into the abyss of bureaucracy and corruption. You could feel his passion as clear as day. Here. It wasn't just about Trump or even Miller himself, but about returning power to the people who hold it dear. Finally, as Miller wrapped up his talk, he challenged everyone, those in the room, those watching, all of us, to sit up, pay attention, and engage with what's happening. Because this administration, well, they're charging ahead whether the media's on board or not. In the end, folks, it's a reality check, a wake-up call, and like any other,
wake up,
Miller
guys.
Lit a fire, and now it's roll call time. Where do y'all stand on these issues? Do you believe there's hope for change, or do these stories ring different bells? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because we want to hear from you. Let's keep this conversation driving forward, y'all, together.
Yeah, exactly, guys. Let's keep this conversation going. I try to answer as many questions as possible. Even the people that don't like me, that's fine. I understand that my thought process is a little different than yours, but at the end of the day, this country will be better off, and then maybe one or two, maybe 3 or 1,000 of you will say, you know what, maybe that it worked out right. It worked out okay. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You know, somebody will be like, oh, it's so great. And then finally you'll start waking up. But once you start waking up, you'll see that this country is great. And Donald Trump did it. And the country is amazing. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate every single one of you. We're about 460 some subscribers. This channel is blowing up, and I am happy. So, with that being said, we will see you on the next one. Thanks again.